my name is Coco Tomita. I recently recorded my debut album with Orchid Classics, and today I'll be answering a couple questions for Presto Music. The first question I've been asked is, why did you end up calling this album Origins? So this name kind of popped up as I was piecing together the program for the CD. And luckily enough, I had the chance to have complete freedom of what I wanted to feature in this album. And yeah, on this journey, I just started to discover very close and intertwined connections between the certain pieces, the composers, and influential figures of the time, such as 20th century artists. Two that stood out were Jeanette Neveu and Jelly Darani, who had huge influences on some of the works that I've chosen. And as a female violinist, I sort of had certain aspects that I related to them and also look up to. And eventually, all these ties kind of led down fascinatingly to my roots and my education as a musician. I was lucky enough to study at the Yehudi Menuhin School for almost 9 years. So Yehudi Menuhin is a very important figure in my musical education. And so, yeah, all these interesting, sort of like a musical tree aspect of this album, and I thought Origin was quite a fitting name for that. The next question is, do you have any pre-performance routines that you find help you get into the right frame of mind? Yes, I mean, over the years of performing, I've definitely come up with something that I can always turn to. I think one thing I've learned is there's just a lot that you can't control in a performance situation, such as venue, even how much time you have to prepare before the concert. It varies from time to time. And so for me, having something consistent in that and having a small little routine, one example I can say is food. I think that's very important. I'm not the biggest meal eater before performing, but I like to carry with me something that boosts my energy right before my performance. So that might be a banana or a piece of chocolate, something sweet that will just give an instant boost, and then I'll usually have a massive meal after the performance. Another thing I can think of is stepping into a bit of breathing work beforehand. I sometimes do this simultaneously while looking at the score and mentally preparing rather than actually physically playing the violin before. I think it's really important to save that energy for when you go onto the stage. And it actually helps me focus a lot more and kind of ground myself, get into the zone, since it can be quite chaotic backstage, for example. So that has helped me a lot. Next up, we have a question about my musical training. A lot of your training took place at the Menuhin School. What was daily life like at the school? Well, first of all, it was a boarding school. So I think the nature of the schedule we had would be quite different to perhaps other schools. I was a day pupil, but I would have to turn up to school as early as 7:45, which is when the day would begin with an hour of practice, and then everyone's schedule would kind of depend on each person, each individual. And so we would have practice sessions scheduled in, and between those we would either have academic lessons, a lesson with the professor perhaps, chamber music lessons, it might be an orchestral rehearsal. So it was just a lot of variety in everyone's day, I think, which was really, really important since it was a long day. So it's good to keep people the students on their toes. And weekly we would have lunchtime concerts Tuesday and Thursday, and this offered an opportunity for us students to step on the Menuhin Hall stage and perform in front of our peers, which I think is so much harder than performing in front of strangers. So this was key to, personally, to strengthen our performance skills and controlling nerves and things like this. So the question is, you end the album with an arrangement of Debussy's Beau Soir by the famous Jascha Heifetz. Are there any performers who have been especially influential on your musical development? Yes, absolutely. I mean, I discovered this piece through my great idol, Janine Jansen. She'd recorded it in one of her albums. And ever since then, I mean, I fell head over heels in love with this piece and used it for encores. It was a staple in my repertoire cycle. I even selected it as one of my works of choice for the BBC semi-final. And so it has huge sentiment to me. And yeah, Janine's recording was a prime source of inspiration. The way she expresses and uses nuance and color and timing is just phenomenal. Nothing I've heard before. And so I really wanted to challenge myself in seeing how much I could express. It's really not a long piece, but there's every phrase, there's so much to say. It's very much about speaking, which makes sense because it's originally a piece for voice. So yeah. And to the final question, can you tell us anything about your future plans? Yes, I mean, I will say it's quite difficult to see so far in the future, especially with the pandemic going on. But I've actually just finished up an incredible and successful tour in Japan. It's my very first time coming here and performing, so that's been very special. And I mean, it's been a miracle to have actually had these concerts take place. It's not easy with everything that's going on, so I'm eternally grateful for that. And it's actually opened up certain other concerts perhaps later in the year, which has given me the opportunity to return back here. So that's been really exciting. And next month, March, I'll be returning to the UK for a couple of performances, and that'll be nice because I will return to certain venues. And yeah, I mean, I'm extremely excited for the release of the album, which is the 4th of March. It'll be available on all streaming platforms. So I cannot wait for that. I mean, it's been a huge step in my career. I look forward to all upcoming events and concerts and really looking forward to 2022. And thank you for listening.